Hello and welcome back to Deep Dish.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Where we are deep dishing on Three Body Problem.
That's it.
Deep Dish from Karman Studios, where two filmmakers deep dish on your favorite television series or your most hated streaming series. Either. Any of those. I'm Kenny.
I'm Dee.
And today we are into episode 5.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
That's what today's all about.
It's all about Judgment Day.
We will be, of course, continuing our theme for this series.
What's the theme?
Oh, the theme is something you simultaneously like and hate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go off the record.
Off the rails?
Off the rails.
All right, go ahead.
I go off the rails. This is my favorite episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I talked.
We said that last episode.
No. Okay, so last episode I thought because number 4 was good compared to 1, 2, and 3.
That's true.
So
had better acting, basically.
Yeah, I think when we started this, I said episode 5 was my favorite. Now that I've seen it again,
Sure.
episode 5 is my favorite. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of qualms, you might say, with episode 5.
You have worries?
I have worries. I'm worried about where this is all headed. I really, having seen it all already, but I'm worried.
I'm worried now.
Yeah. But let's dive into episode 5, Judgment Day, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So the episode begins with a riveting scene between the two least interesting characters in the whole show.
Oh, Wade and Raj.
Wade and Raj.
Right. Okay. So Wade is Onion Knight.
Mm-hmm. Wade is Onion Knight.
Right.
Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And Raj is Jen's boyfriend, who is a Royal Navy...
A Navy person.
Super soldier. Seaman.
He's a seaman.
He's a very good seaman.
So when I first watched this, in fact, just now when I watched it, I didn't know it was Raj.
You didn't put that together?
No, not at all. So
that's funny.
I think it was because of how different of a character he is. Because we start with him personal, and we see him dressed up like differently. Like he doesn't have his cap on.
Yeah.
And when he's standing here on the whatever it is, the area by the boat.
Yeah.
We see Wade come in, and Wade just starts talking to him like he's like he knows him.
Yeah.
And Raj doesn't know him. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the shot. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's me. But I didn't.
I think it's a performance.
Yeah.
Because Raj is acting as a soldier would in this situation.
Right.
It's actually kind of thematically appropriate.
That's the thing. He's never acted this way before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're seeing him as a soldier, and he's being addressed by a person who he has no clue who this guy is.
Right.
And he's asking him for like top secret information and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't talk about that to people that are strangers.
Yeah.
And Wade has the audacity to like treat him like he's an asshole.
I want to say this scene I feel like is the most Dan and Dave scene ever. Do you know what I mean by that?
Maybe. I don't know. Go on.
When they're talking, it's this, which is fine to have in shows and whatever in movies, the setup. You know what I mean? Setup.
Meaning every sentence is a setup for a comeback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very underdog, I guess, where it's like, you don't know who I am, but suddenly you do, right? Kind of thing. It's like it's delivering justice in that kind of way. They do that a lot, just everywhere. But it's like I noticed in the later parts of Game of Thrones, like the last season, there was a lot of that hidden information, and then come back at you because fuck you. There was a lot of fuck yous.
Sure.
So I don't like that. I feel like it's really amateur.
Oh, you don't know who I am? Well, you could always ask for my ID. But then I would think you're a nutless sack of shit. And he's like, can I see your ID?
I loved actually that. I like Wade in here because this is where we start to see his character. And he was so goddamn boring in the other episodes, and now he's
he's good when he's a real asshole.
Yeah.
Their conversation means almost nothing.
It means nothing.
Basically, he's recruiting Raj.
Yeah.
He's saying, you're going to do something more important than protecting the UK.
And Raj really doesn't need, like, that could have been anyone. And it really
seems like it.
It really could have been anyone, I think, keep going forward, right?
Yeah. We weren't given any information to indicate that Raj is special.
Which is why it had to be Raj. Like why is that
I
character?
assume, like, I would have assumed that it had to do with his relationship to Jen.
Yeah.
But moving forward, that proves to not be
Right.
consequential at all.
There's nothing.
So
Yeah.
I think, should we have a drinking game every time we say, unnecessary scene, skip scene,
Skip scene.
pointless scene? Yeah.
No, we'd be drunk.
We'd be drunk pretty quick.
Yeah.
Especially since I start most episodes drunk. I'd pass out.
You would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's got to be a name for that, for not passing out, but but when you have a character say something like withholding information from that person so that they can have a comeback at the end.
Yeah, it's like the let's see, what's a good example?
There's got to be a classic.
It's like when you say, "Oh, you did it again." Did what again? Did this.
Yeah, we talked about this a
That
while
kind
ago.
of,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, I don't know, it's a very cliche call and response kind of
Right.
dialogue.
It's called artificial something. Artificial tension? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I guess.
Meaningless artificial tension?
Yeah.
There's a, like, if Wade came in here and he said, "Hey, what are you?" And then Raj cuts him off and he just shoves his ID in his face. He says, "Yeah, this is me. So anyway, so I need you."
Right. Why doesn't Wade walk up and say, like, "Hey, I'm really important. I'm kind of the top most important guy, and I'm recruiting you to go do a mission."
Right.
But that wouldn't be as interesting.
It wouldn't be. No,
Yeah.
this is a lot more dramatic, but it's dramatic for no reason. Yeah.
Like many things in this series.
Right.
All right. We've spent too much time on this scene already.
Oh, this is great.
It was an absolutely pointless
This
scene.
is great. This is absolutely great.
Meant nothing. Okay. So we smash cut to the exhilarating 10-second opening credit sequence. And then
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Even. Yeah, probably right. And then we're with Clarence, and he's in the interrogation room with Wenjie. And she's like, "Oh, are you the good cop? Where's the bad cop?"
There's the gotcha dialogue.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And he's watching. Anyway.
Good old Benedict Wong.
Not a lot happens here either, other than more of, they are coming, and there's nothing you can do about it, and they're coming, and you're fucked because they're coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
She introduces this idea that maybe she's not important anymore.
Right. She has this, we have this information, I think, imbalance where Clarence knows, I don't know, Clarence doesn't know that the people, the Santi, have stopped responding, but he knows that something has happened.
Yeah.
And she doesn't.
Right.
So that's what this is showing up, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so really the episode hasn't begun yet.
No. No.
Augie and Jen are at the safe house together.
Oh, is that what this is?
That's
I thought
what
it was
the next
Jin's
scene is.
house. That makes sense.
No, it's a safe house.
Safe house.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why all the security's there. In the previous episode,
Right.
Clarence had said, bring a toothbrush and stuff, because
Right.
if you can't go home, we got a place to send you to.
Right.
That's what this is.
So Jin's right now in, what do you call it? She has, not PTSD, but
Extreme anxiety.
she has extreme anxiety at the
And
moment.
she's like, my pills are for anxiety. I have anxiety.
Right.
Crawl the fuck out of my ass,
Yeah.
Augie.
It's good. I like that conversation.
That was all right.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Yeah. But again, Augie she doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
she's there going, "Stop taking pills."
Yeah. The whole scene, again, boiled down to setting up the opportunity for them to express that they're overwhelmed and that we're all fucked.
Yeah.
That's basically what they say. It's like, oh, we'll just defeat aliens, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So another scene
So skip scene.
where not much has happened.
Not too much. This does say a little bit more. Not that much.
I mean, it is character development for Jen more than Augie.
More than Augie, but there is the plot that's happening there. Like you said, is that they're at the safe house, but we're showing them at the safe house to show their feelings on the matter. And Augie does not feel good at the safe house, and Jen feels safe at the safe house. So that's interesting. So
Yeah.
she's sitting there going like, we need more security guards. or something. I forgot.
Right. They're like, do you think it matters that we have 6 security guards here or whatever?
Right.
They're still after us.
It's a little obvious character development for her in the beginning because we've already known this.
We've already seen her munching pills and being anxious. Yeah. It's almost a repeat of a scene we've had before.
Right. The better scene
the one where it's like, have vodka.
Have vodka instead, yeah. That was a better scene.
True.
Yeah. Anyway, skip
because we hadn't seen it before.
Right.
All right. Yeah, so we're off to a slow start here, guys.
Still my favorite, though. Still my favorite.
Yeah, you said that last time. All right. So we go back to the interrogation now.
Yeah.
So we learn some things, though.
Yeah, we learned that Vera wasn't really all that connected, I guess, to her family.
Yeah. Also, what this means is that her suicide had nothing to do with the game.
That is weird. Right, because they talk about, the VR helmet wasn't for her.
She never played the game.
She never even played it. So she committed suicide. I thought it was because she had a countdown before.
There's nothing to say that's not true.
Or no one says it is true either.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, at this point, I'm really wondering why she killed herself.
Well, this sparks the question that I'm going to bring up more and more this episode in particular.
Yeah.
Because what gets revealed in this episode is that the Santi are coming, and they're worried that humanity is going to evolve technologically beyond them by the time they can get there.
Right.
And so this whole idea of creating the Sophons and sending them there is to sabotage their scientific development.
Yeah.
And so they were making people, scientists kill themselves by using this countdown and shit like that. Now, so if that's the case, right? When Auggie turns off her scientific development, the countdown goes away, right? That's in line with what we're told.
Yeah.
They want science to stop developing, okay?
Yes.
But later, she turns it back on, countdown doesn't come back. And the narrative they tell us is, because they're not taking care of their people anymore. Like all of a sudden, controlling the scientific development is about protecting the cult. What they're telling us, though, is that they're trying to sabotage scientific development so that humans don't evolve beyond them by the time they get here.
Yeah.
The countdown should have come back for Auggie. It absolutely should have come back.
We're not there yet.
I know that, but this is related.
But what does that mean for Vera? You're saying that there was a countdown for Vera, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that if Vera killed herself and she was this cutting edge scientist, it would have been for this specific reason of sabotaging the sciences. Right.
Well, so
my point is that in this episode, they will betray that idea like 10 times.
They might. I'm not sure.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But I want to talk about Vera because I don't know if they ever talk about her death because I can't remember that's the last 4 episodes of the season. But in this one, they mentioned that she never had the VR. Right. She never played the game.
Right.
Thus, I don't know if she had a countdown. Not that the countdown of VR is related, but the idea that she had a countdown, and when which zero she killed herself for whatever reason, I don't know. But now that you're bringing up Auggie, she left her job, and like that was the point where she was the lowest, right? That was like the point that most scientists are like, my life is over now. I kill myself now.
Yeah, I gave up my life's work.
Right. So you don't need a countdown for that. You would just offer.
But remember, Auggie did not have a headset.
Yeah.
Right? She had a countdown.
Yeah.
And we know there were other scientists who killed themselves who had a countdown.
Right.
But we also know that some of the scientists who killed themselves had a headset.
Right.
So it's like very murky. Right. Like I don't know what is causing them to kill themselves.
Okay. So Vera somehow killed herself, whether that was countdown related or not. The idea was that she understood that science was somehow not working anymore, and so she was like, my life means nothing.
It broke her just will to live.
That's how I imagined it first happening when the first scene when she just jumped off and we saw her kill herself. I was like, oh, right, because you're a scientist, science doesn't work anymore.
Stopped working.
Right. So that was what I guessed, but we just never got confirmed. I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know. But what we do know now is that the headset was given to Jen intentionally.
Right.
And it was never actually Vera's, and she didn't actually play the game.
Yeah. There was a little weird comment here about why did you give the headset to Jin? And she said, because she's like one of the best of her time or something like that, the generation.
She says, as good as you?
Yeah, and she goes, no.
She goes, no.
Just like a weird throwaway line. Just showing.
It'd be cool if it mattered.
It would.
It's a cool line if it was significant.
Yeah, it shows that what Wenjie's character and what that she's not like the sweet old woman that we thought, but she's a little more projection heavy, I guess.
I still wish Wenjie was the main character of the show.
She should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be rooting for her.
Yeah.
And feel devastated for her.
Right, me too. Yeah,
we don't have anyone to feel devastated for.
For the other, no.
We don't. That's
Humanity?
That's what's hard here.
Humanity, maybe?
Yeah, but that's too big.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
Like in Game of Thrones, it was it was always the Stark kids, right? You have these people who you are constantly worried about the potential that they might die, the devastation of the loss of their father or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Not at all.
In the book. Ooh. Okay. In the book, we have Wang and Wenjie. Mm-hmm. And those are the two main characters. They're on opposite sides, and it's interesting to follow both of them.
Right.
Because it keeps going back and forth. Here, we have Wang split up into 5 or whatever characters, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
And we don't really go into Wenjie's perspective at all.
Not at
anymore.
all. No,
we did in the past.
In the past.
In the flashbacks.
Yeah.
But not in the present.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Anyway. Like she's really more the role of a villain. Which doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel right.
Right.
To me.
Okay, so that's what this whole thing about her interrogation here with Clarence is. Clarence is bringing up like this kind of villain thing in her, and I never saw that in her, and it's not believable at this point. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Like there are some character moments in here where she says things like, no, she's not as good as me, or, keep the faith and they don't need me, but I'm cool with that kind of thing. And then she has this weird arc at the end that we'll get to, but she's not believable. I don't feel.
We just have not been given enough to grasp onto.
Yeah.
For a lot of these characters, but her especially, to be able to like look straight into the face of the officer and be like, I don't care what you think,
right?
Because I have this pure belief in our Lord.
That would be so interesting to have that.
Yeah, we would, but it requires that we experience some of this with her.
Right, exactly.
For us to have the empathy.
Yeah, what's funny, who we have the empathy here with is Clarence more than anything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's weird.
We feel like Clarence, actually. In this show, we feel more like the investigator who's on the outside of the story, just gathering tidbits of information here and there, trying to piece it together. That works for certain films. When you're trying to unfold a mystery, a noir film, often,
right,
it makes sense to take the position of the investigator. It's not working here at all.
No, because there's no. I don't know. I want to say there's no mystery here. There's obviously a mystery, but everything comes together in the end without him discovering it. He doesn't discover any of it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And they almost are showing us too much and too little at the same time.
Right. No, too little of the big plot stuff. Mm-hmm. Too much of the side things, the minutia. Yeah. That's why there's so many skip scenes.
Oh, Dan and Dave are shit.
Oh, they're bad.
Yeah. They don't know what they're doing.
Still my favorite episode.
Yeah. It gets better. Hang in there, folks. It gets better. So the next is this awesome scene where Wade is unboxing his Chinese stirrups.
He's unboxing,
yeah. Yeah, he's unboxing them in front of Clarence like it's a flex.
Right.
He's like, you know what these are? These are 1,000-year-old Chinese metal stirrups. And that's why Genghis Khan won. And I'm 1% Mongolian, and that's why, because I'm a badass like Genghis Khan.
It's weird stilted dialogue, but I think I don't know if it's the point or not. It's a really weird thing to bring up. It's completely weird just to have this wooden crate out of nowhere and just unbox it. And then he's like, oh, what, did you bring that for some reason? And he's like, oh, no, my friend sent it to me.
Yeah. And it makes sense for me to open it now in front of you.
Right.
I don't know.
So the point that he's trying to make, I think later on that Clarence says, he follows up saying, finding their stirrups.
Yeah, finding out what are their metal stirrups.
Right.
What is the thing that's giving them their advantage.
Weird metaphor, but yeah, it's there.
They're so good at symbolism. It's really deep and profound stuff.
I liked his 1% Mongolian statement. Because
that was kind of funny.
It was funny for one, because he's like 100% white. Like he said, a mutt of European stuff.
Yeah, European mutt, totally uninteresting.
Right. But then he said when the Mongolians use these, iron stirrups to like on horses to just get everyone, he said they fucked everyone too. That's the reason why I'm on 1% Mongolian.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, it was kind of good.
It was funny.
It was kind of funny.
It's funny.
It's kind of stupid.
It was
okay.
I was saying in the context of the show, it's funny.
Yeah. I don't. It's funny. There's a weird arc with Wade.
There's an arc with Wade?
Yeah, that's in the audience perception of Wade.
What's
it's
that?
not an arc of his character. It's an arc of our perception. I think that he's unhinged as a person.
Yeah.
And at first you're like, what the fuck is this guy? I don't really like him. I can't identify with him. He doesn't make much sense. I don't understand why he's in a leadership role, right? But then he progressively becomes more and more unhinged.
Yeah.
And it makes you kind of like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like as he gets more unhinged, he becomes more of a real character.
No, yeah, like I said before, the cartoon character, mustache twirling, I feel like villain, but he's good kind of guy that we talked about last episode. That's what I feel like he is, and we're finally getting a glimpse of that, what you call unhinged person. You know who he kind of reminds me of?
Who?
Is the girl character in Project Hail Mary. Do you remember the
book?
Yeah, in the book.
Project Hail Mary, the girl character.
the girl who controls who's given like absolute power.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of her in that.
Yeah, she's given like carte blanche authority over the whole world.
Over everything, yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of what this guy is.
Yeah. Well, so it reminds me of like when she's using like fighter jets just to transport people back and forth.
Nothing he does will be illegal.
Right. Yeah. That's what I get from this, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Be neat to know that.
To know?
Yeah.
That he has full authority?
Yeah. What is he? Like, we've never been given an answer.
He has an office that looks like the Blade Runner 2049 office from what's her name?
Yeah. We know he's not like, they say he's not MI6. He's not Scotland Yard.
Right. No, I don't care, honestly, what he is. The point is that he's high up, and I think that's what's neat. Because I already know why he needs to exist, right?
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that he keeps referring to the aliens as like cunts. It's like, we got to figure out what these cunts can do.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the most dialogue we've had from him in any episode.
Yeah.
And it's great.
No, yeah, this is maybe his biggest episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, meanwhile, on the Judgment Day, Evans is walking around with his little
with his American accent.
executive assistant, whoever that guy is, the guy that watches the video game footage.
Right.
He just feels like a executive assistant to me.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they're walking around, and he's like, "Oh, people are worried," and he's like, "Well, they need to have faith."
Yep. Yeah,
And
this is token cult leader speak.
Yeah, he's very much the High Sparrow.
Yeah.
He, again, he's still nothing like he was as a young Evans.
Yeah.
And he lost his British accent that he had when he was young.
Rip British accent.
Yeah, maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. But there's no effort to try to blend those two characters whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. These are two separate characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did anything important happen in that scene?
He talked about the analogy of, it was just another faith analogy.
Yeah.
But not really. This is more character development for him to show us that he's faithful.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. I think that's fine. And I think it's interesting also to have this kind of day in the life kind of footage of the ship.
And he's he's putting on an act now. This time, now he's putting on an act.
Right. Yeah. Now there's actual tension here.
Right. Yeah. Because he knows he's lost his connection to the Santee.
Right.
And what's really interesting is that his act is as genuine as when it wasn't an act.
Right.
Meaning, is it always an act?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a cult leader.
That is,
there.
yeah. I don't know. I think that's a little too deep for this show. But
I know. I almost felt like not saying that because I felt like I was giving them too much credit. But
but that's good.
It works. That does work.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally works.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that a lot of things that we talk about with the scenes that just don't matter in here. This one's a little more, I think, a little more hinged, maybe. On plot just a little bit because why?
Well, it moves along this idea that things are falling apart for
that's
them.
What it is.
You know, you're watching him do damage control.
Right. Yeah, this is the upset that's happening at the moment. Wade says that we need the data that's on the ship.
Yes.
Or we need the data, it's most likely on the ship.
Right.
And you know what was funny was about that was I was thinking if I were the ship captain at this point, I'd probably have a backup, right, of this really important data somewhere on land.
There's no reason to think they don't.
Yeah. It'd just be just like, you know, if you attacked a backup, I'm going into canon here, or head canon. But I mean, if you were to attack someone to get their data, I would just go after the backup, not having to kill everybody, right?
That would be the first place to look.
That would be.
Yeah. Maybe they have a cloud subscription.
It's on their Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Their Amazon cloud.
It's on Google Drive. Except it's something like 100 petabytes or something.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Anyway.
So they talk about why they can't use things like missiles. They can't like just attack everyone with guns and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah. So and he has this great line where he's like, "You're only giving me shite ideas," and he's all, "Oh, did you want a good one?"
Right. Yeah. And then says that they've booked passage through the Panama Canal.
Yeah, and then this leads almost directly. Apparently, the nanofiber idea just intuitively came to him really easily from that point. He's like, "I know what to do. Let's go talk to Auggie."
Here, fun fact for you and the audience here. In the book, the nanofiber is called Flying Blade.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, for this reason. Because the guy who made it, Wong, talks about how it can chop a car in half if it were to just hang still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is problematic physically, and I'll get into that in a minute, but we'll wait.
Oh, and another fun fact.
Yes?
I'm going to give another fun fact.
Fun fact. Ho, ho, ho.
That's a terrible line. When they talk about blowing up, or when they talk about attacking the ship, the first thing that I thought was like, if you're going to attack with nanofibers, you're just going to chop up the hard drives. How is that any different?
Right.
Right.
I had the same thought.
Yeah. In the book, they say how the hard drives will be so cleanly cut because it's nanofiber that they'll be really easy to just put back together.
Right.
For data recovery.
Right. Like the incision is so small and fine that it doesn't even corrupt data.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
It is cool. I don't think I believe it, but that's cool. But
well, have you ever worked with nanofiber?
I haven't actually.
I guess you wouldn't know then.
I wouldn't know.
I guess you wouldn't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm
Check
sorry.
yourself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Clarence goes to the safe house and startles Auggie.
This is the funniest startle.
It's like someone's literally in protective safety, and you're literally just going to sneak into their house and be like, "Boo!"
Yeah,
that's not good. That's not cool.
Not cool.
Yeah.
But
he makes up for it with bananas.
Right. He gives her groceries, and she looks at the bananas like, "Fuck."
Yeah. What the fuck, man? Bananas? Because he's like, "Yeah, I went to the grocery store because I figured they're giving you shit food.
Right.
So I brought you the good stuff." And she's like, "Bananas." Cool.
It's a great scene. This is moving the plot forward.
But anyways, he says, you need to resume manufacture of the nanofiber.
Yeah, which is a crazy thing to say, I think, because Auggie is now she's completely out of saying that she's left her work, her career's done, everything like that.
She's literally off the grid.
Right. And it's crazy to come back to her and be like, hey, listen, I need you to fire that back up without asking a reason why. That's really cool. This is where I feel like the tension starts.
Yeah.
In the show.
And she's like, no. And he's like, yes, because it's the only way we're going to catch these fuckers.
That's right.
If you want to catch these fuckers.
These fuckers.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you just want me to trust you? And he's like, yes.
Which is a great line, but a bad edit.
Yeah, and then they smash cut to her trusting him.
Right.
We missed the part where she decides to trust him.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah. Oops.
Whatever.
Whatever.
So we go to the laboratory. She fires up the machines again. And again, all you got to do is have the machine on for research to be continuing on the nanofibers.
Not just on. No. Well, there's a production cycle, I guess, that she has to start up. Yeah. This whole thing reminds me, you said it before, it reminds me of Devs, the whole machine and thing.
Yeah.
It just aesthetically looks the same.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not a flattering comparison in many ways.
It's not. Both suffer from the same issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in Devs, it's Nick Offerman gives us what Wong gives us in, what Benedict Wong gives us in this show.
Right. Yeah.
The performance that carries everything.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, that show wouldn't work at all with Nick, without Nick.
Yeah, Nick was kind of what made the show work.
Right.
Anyway, that's another show. So they turn it on, and lo and behold, no countdown comes back.
Yeah, interesting.
It is interesting because she's like, why is there no countdown? And then he suggests it's because the Lord is no longer caring for his people. Right? So why is her seeing a countdown evidence of the Lord caring for her people? Because I thought the countdown is there for the Santi to protect themselves from humans.
From the evolution of technology.
Yeah. I don't get why the countdown wouldn't come back.
I don't know.
Because now they're suggesting that... Because what this seems to imply is that the Santi did not want nanofiber developed because somehow they knew it would be used to tear up the Judgment Day. They're like, we can't have that, so no nanofiber. We're protecting our people on the Judgment Day.
Oh, but now that they're disconnected, now they don't care.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care. Make nanofiber.
Oh, wow. I wonder if that's
what it looks like.
What it is.
But then at the end, you have the Sophons showing up and being like, no, we're trying to get all the scientists to kill themselves.
Dude, this whole thing this is
messy. This is really messy.
That makes the whole world feel way smaller. Like I totally get the idea where you need a single person to care about. We talked about how freaking these characters suck because there's not a whole lot of focus on one person.
Yeah.
And we haven't spent a whole lot of empathy with one person, and we want that empathy to care about them, to care about what's happening in the story. If the Santi said, okay, we don't care about these people anymore, go ahead and use your nanofibers to fuck them up, that absolutely gives us a more close story to care about, but it fucks up the whole reason why they started the countdown in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's dumb.
I mean, we were led to believe that all these countdowns were happening independently to people in all branches of advanced science.
Right. And no one was like threatening this group.
None of them were threatening the group.
No.
Yeah. So.
Weird.
It doesn't make sense that the countdown wouldn't come back. That's what I'm saying.
It's really weird. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, if it did come back, I wonder what would happen if it got to 0.
I know. Because she makes the comment that there's a time bomb in her head.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'm not going to turn it back on. You're not the one with a time bomb in your head.
Right.
And I'm like, no one ever told her she had a time bomb in her head.
Right. Well, we're just thinking that, we're guessing that she's guessing.
I think it's like a psychological trick.
Right.
It's just you get fucked up by just seeing this countdown,
right.
And you believe that it can't be going. You get terrified of it getting to 0.
See, this is okay
because you don't know what'll happen.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna destroy Dan and Dave right now.
Oh my God! Finally,
okay.
We've never done that.
We've never talked about Dan and Dave. The first scene in this entire series is the blood on the walls, right?
I thought it was the rebellion in old China.
Oh, you're right. First modern scene, I guess. Yeah. So first modern scene, we have the blood written in blood, the countdown on the walls, and the guy writing, I can still see it, right? With the
After
sign.
he pulled his eyes out.
Right. So what that says to me is that someone has this countdown in their head, they can't get it out, and they commit suicide because they are. It's a constant number feed in your vision.
Yeah.
At all times.
It would drive you insane.
Right. Okay. So that's why they killed themselves.
That makes sense.
Perhaps. Okay. So then other scientists around the world start killing themselves. Is it because they're going insane from the numbers? Is that the reason?
I mean, the dude in the bathtub didn't have any countdown around him.
Vera also kills
Vera
us.
just jumps. We don't have any indication that there was a countdown involved.
She definitely didn't look like she was driving. She was getting insane.
She wasn't using a headset.
No.
But bathtub guy was using a headset.
Yep. Auggie had the countdown, I think, down to 10 seconds or 1 minute or something.
Yeah, around 1 minute.
Yeah, when it came back the second time, when she just decided to test it, right? Turned on the machine to see if it come back, and it came back. That was in episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway, the countdown, I believe, in the original story was meant to give an ultimatum, right? If you're a scientist and you're doing science work to up the technology in your planet, whatever, for humanity, the idea is that you throw a countdown to them and be like, "What the fuck is going on? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to kill myself because not because the countdown, not because the numbers are there in your field of view, but because of what it represents, right? It's going to go down unless you end your career." You end your career, now you have nothing to live for, thus you kill yourself, right?
Sure.
That's what I believe is happening.
Okay.
Dan and Dave, apparently, because that first goddamn scene, I knew that was the first thing that bothered me in this, was that bloody countdown on the walls.
Yeah.
Because it shows me that the person killed themselves not because they ended their career, but because they went insane. That's not what the story's about.
Right. Also, I can't buy that someone could write down to the millisecond countdown in real time of what they were seeing. It would take too long.
It's kind of silly.
It would take too long.
It's silly.
He's like,
but
he's like 000125, 000124, 000123.
The fact that
Really fast.
It's just weird to. I feel like they didn't understand the story.
It's as the only explanation I could think of.
Unless they just changed it.
Why does it end up this messy? You know?
It's really messy. It's weird.
Yeah, it leaves you with more questions than answers.
Yeah, I think it's what happens when you try to add stuff to a story, basically, to an already complete story.
Yeah.
And you start condensing and then adding your own things here and there, and thus you fuck up the story because you're adding unnecessary extraneous things.
Thus, the story is fucked up. All right, so nanofiber's back on the board, folks. Woo! Woo! And now, Wave...
Oh, and Augie's back in the plot.
Yeah, Augie's back in the plot.
Hey.
And
she means something now. She has something
She kind of does mean a bit from here on to
Not
the
here
rest
on out.
of this episode.
To this episode,
yeah. Yeah, I was going to get to that. There's a moment where she almost shines.
Yeah.
Almost,
right.
Wade gives the worst hype speech in history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
While Clarence and Auggie sit in the car in the hangar.
Yeah, just hanging out. I don't know why they drove their car into the hangar
Yeah.
and are sitting in the car. I don't know.
It's weird.
But they're listening in, and Augie's like, "Isn't it weird that he chose Jin's boyfriend?" And he's like, "Everything he does is weird."
Yeah, that's the line right there.
Yeah, that's the line.
Not anything.
And I'm
about
like,
why.
that is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
Like, I want to know that.
He said a true thing about Wade.
Well, no. I want to know why Raj is here. What's the point of Raj? Who fuck cares about Raj? Why Raj?
I know.
Yeah.
And stop telling me that Raj matters. Because he don't. God damn. All right. Yeah, he's like, no one will remember you. No one will give a fuck about you. But I expect this to be the most important thing you ever do in your life.
Yeah. Again, it's an anti-speech that
anti-speech.
that I think you're supposed to the viewer is supposed to take on as, oh yeah, because things are so dire, we don't have time. Right, it's badass.
Yep.
But we haven't had much character development or empathy for this guy, so thus there's not much badassness.
That's why the one line that's the most accurate is when he says everything he does is weird.
It's weird.
It's like you don't even have to think about it. You don't need answers.
He's just crazy.
He's just weird. We got the Mad Hatter is running the government. The hell? Will is high on the beach, and Saul shows up with the money man.
Right. Oh man, go ahead.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm here to bequeath to you your inheritance from Jack." It's like 20 million, and
it doesn't matter.
And he's like, "I'm gonna buy 3 million pasties."
5 million.
5 million pasties at the Cornish pasty shop. And if him now having $20 million significantly altered the direction of our story.
Of the plot?
And came into play, relevance.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But it does not.
Does not.
Not in this episode. But
doesn't matter that he has $20 million now.
No, nothing.
Yeah. All right.
So when it cuts to this scene, the very first time I saw this, it was one of those ebbs and flows thing, when you have highs and lows in your story.
Yeah.
To make sure that you have high excitement and low excitement, not ever high engagement and low engagement. You should always be engaged.
Yes.
Yeah. But this right here is low engagement, and it's because I'm cutting to you while you're looking at your phone. And this right here, what's his name? When it cuts to Will, I'm just like, oh, who cares? Move on. Because Will means nothing to the story at the moment.
Yeah.
He'll mean something later. He means nothing now. Up until now, 1 through 5, he's meant nothing.
True.
Yeah.
True. Poor Will.
He's part Auggie.
He's got cancer.
Oh, no. He has cancer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Empathy.
no.
You should feel something.
Sympathy.
He's dying.
Not empathy.
Sympathize. Empathize.
Simp. I will simp for him.
Simp for Will.
Simp for Will.
Yeah, I'm pro simp Will. Anyway, Will's rich now.
Apparently.
He's dying.
Yeah, he doesn't care though.
All right, now we're in Panama.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right, the Jurassic Park shot.
Yeah, and we got this sequence of them preparing for the mission where everyone's kind of doing bullshit actions.
Yeah.
Acting like they're setting this thing up.
Yeah.
Rolling invisible fibers onto a toilet paper roll.
Except you can see the fibers.
I know, it was a little visible. Whatever. It's fantasy, folks.
It's fantasy.
It's just fantasy.
Yeah, it's like the computer bleeps,
Yeah.
Whenever somebody does something on the computer, it goes bloop, 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 bloop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's a visual part of that.
Raj is walking around being like, you need to make that look like it's 30 years old. Add some aging to that. And you pick that up. And you're like, see, Raj is important.
Raj is important.
Yeah. And pretty much the whole scene was, I think, to show that, again, Wade is this mastermind.
Sure.
Because he goes to Raj and he's like, I don't trust Auggie. I want you to double check her work.
That's the, what do you call it? The insane or the weirdness that I picked up on.
Uh-huh.
That's what I feel like.
And then he goes to Auggie and is like, I don't trust Raj. I want you to double check everything he does.
Right, right.
So they have this setting up montage, and then we have Auggie and Raj go on a date.
Right.
What a bitch. It's her best friend's boyfriend.
What was
It's her best friend's boyfriend.
Oh my God, yeah, she's crazy.
Yep.
What are they doing? What are they talking about?
They're talking about ethics, basically.
Talking about ethics?
Yeah, she's saying, why are we okay with this? Who is this guy anyway? Don't even know who he is, and he's just telling us to kill a bunch of people, and we don't even know who these people are. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Right?
So Raj is
like, hey, it's war, we kill people in war. I don't ask questions.
So Raj is acting as the soldier but against Auggie versus Auggie, who is angry girl again.
But taking the humanist perspective.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is the first time that she's making an argument that it actually sounds reasonable coming from her. This is actually where Auggie feels real for the first time, because she's making an argument that she's qualified to make because she's just a person. That's all it takes.
Because she's human.
She's like, I don't want to kill people. And I was like, oh, I believe you now. Right? I never believed her when she's talking about nanofibers or anything else that's like sophisticated emotions.
Okay, that's a little bit different from me, though, because I feel like when she's working on nanofibers and stuff, that she is directly connected to the plot, and thus she matters.
Yeah, but I just never believe she invented nanofibers.
I did.
I don't believe she has this knowledge in her head.
Because she never talks about it, as opposed to Jen, right?
Right. She doesn't give any evidence to suggest that she's that person. Like, at all. Right. It feels like it's just tangential. The people who work for her at her company seem more invested in the technology than she does.
Yeah.
A lot of that's because her whole performance is focused on this idea of the countdown.
Yeah.
But it's at the expense of making her a believable character.
Very much so. Yeah. So we don't have any of that kind of stuff. So this is about ethics. So she keeps saying that she doesn't want to kill people, and that's basically it.
Yeah, that's basically it. She's like, what are we doing here? We're going to do this thing tomorrow where we're going to kill who knows how many people.
Right. All
on the word of this guy, and none of us know who he really is.
So what is this scene for then? Just for character development of Auggie?
I think so, because as it pans out, really once the mission's completed, Auggie gets kind of fucked up by it.
Oh, right.
You know?
Okay.
So it's to set up for that. Now, does it matter that Auggie gets fucked up by it? That's harder to say.
Right.
I don't know if that it actually has consequences to the story.
We'll see. Yeah, because the story is not about Auggie getting emotionally tormented throughout the series.
No.
Because she does.
We have a lot of that.
Yeah, but that's not what the story's about.
No.
So
anyway,
whatever happens, we skip.
So their date is totally not hot at all. It's another unsatisfactory end to sexual tension.
There's sexual tension here?
It's a very romantic setting anyway.
Actually,
the lighting is gorgeous.
I was going to say the lighting looks like Wong Kar-wai's.
It does, yeah. The Mood for Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when we were watching that scene, we were like, God, some of this really looks good.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
That lighting was incredible there.
Wish it mattered. It's mission time now.
Right.
Now it's mission time.
So the 20-minute sequence or whatever of Panama.
Yeah. Can I do a nitpick?
Please.
It's probably stupid.
I already know what you're going to say because you said it in episode 1.
I don't know if I did this one. I have several, but...
You talked about the CG in here, right?
That's not my nitpick.
Oh, okay. What's your nitpick?
My nitpick is about the physics of the nanofiber. So maybe again, this is already stupid to pick on.
Okay.
But, let's just imagine you had a stainless steel cord.
Yeah.
Right? Something harder than you in your body.
Harder than me?
Yes. Okay. I know nothing's harder than D.
Nothing's harder.
Let's say it was harder than Taylor.
I say hard.
Okay. And it was suspended between two poles by a few layers of duct tape.
Okay.
If you walked into it, the duct tape will break before the thing goes through your body.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Lyle, stop it. That was creepy. God. That really is unnerving, especially in the red light. Oh my God. Now, this nanofiber is like, they called it flying blade or something.
In the book, they call it flying blade.
In that it could go through anything with barely any tension behind it. So how the hell do you fasten it to those pillars in such a way that when the ship hits it, they stay?
So...
They would slice right through the pillars.
So we're gonna go into a little bit of technology later on too, but one thing that Dan and Dave can't do is visual storytell explanations, like that kind of stuff.
They have to say it.
Yeah, they have to say it.
Yeah.
And in here, 100%, I'm with you. There's no way this thing could have worked.
Yeah.
if that's the way that they did it.
Yeah.
In the book, they go so far into the explanation of why that wouldn't happen, and it's honestly kind of aggravating because I was.
You're like, move on with the story, please.
Yeah. I'm listening to the book and I'm just like, I get it. Yeah, it's not going to cut. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a thing there. They just neglected to include it.
So this sequence is a long sequence.
Yeah.
It's a cool sequence.
It's really cool.
There's a lot about it that I really like and a few things that I don't like.
I love it because, not just because it's visual and there's not a whole lot of dialogue. That is my favorite. But
it's definitely the longest action sequence of the whole series.
Right, 100%. And it also is it's the most alarming for me because it's again grounded. I don't know. Okay, maybe this is something that Dan and Dave are good at. Grounded violence. Violence to where it is over the top violence, but it's over the top in the way that it just happens.
Right.
But it's not like blood squirting everywhere, people exploding.
So that I liked. I liked that there was a certain menace to this that was a bit scary.
Exactly, yeah.
And that it was happening in silence and invisibly.
Right.
Right?
I loved that.
That was very cool.
It was so cool that they were running away from what they don't see.
Yeah.
And that this nothingness was attacking people. That
At the
really
same
cool.
time, though, I feel like they pulled punches.
Oh, sure.
I feel like they were like, oh, Netflix has a certain level of violence that is cool for Netflix. This did not look like it was done by the guys who did Game of Thrones.
Not at all. No. This on HBO would not have flown. No, this would have been way different.
Yeah. Well, and then my other qualm is the way we see the ship come apart at the final shot of the main action is the ship falling apart into ribbons, basically. Yeah. And those ribbons seem to implicate that these nanofibers are about 12 inches separated, maybe 2 feet at the most.
I think what you're getting at is the scale of the CG set, because the CG was terrible in here. I mean, like I pointed out when we were reviewing the footage, just the fucking poles themselves coming out of the water.
They look bad.
Looked terrible. Yeah. It just the water coming off. I'm just like, that's clearly
the splashing
CG.
and the bubbles looked awful.
Yeah. So that being said, the whole last part is CG, right? The boat sliding into ribbons, and the scale looks completely different.
If those nanofibers are as far apart as that shot suggests, we should have seen people falling into 8 pieces.
Well, no, this is what
instead of just cut in half.
This is what I'm thinking that you're might be missing is the scale. I think what we saw was the right scale. I think
the ship is just way bigger than I'm realizing.
Right. And I think it's just that last shot. Like if you've ever seen a destroyer or not a destroyer, an oil tanker ship, whatever it is, they're gigantic. And in that shot where it's being cut to ribbons, it looks like a toy. It looks like it's
right.
Like the camera it's got to be 30 feet off the ground, floating above the water. It's just the most CG camera placement ever, and it just doesn't look real. That's all.
Right. So the failure, either way, the failure is in connecting that final shot with what we see happening on the ship itself.
Right.
It makes it look like they don't go together.
Correct. Yeah. There's many times on the inside where I saw, one person get chopped in half and then the next person get chopped into fourths. Like, that definitely happened.
The violence, the violent part that made me wince the hardest was actually his ankle breaking when he jumped and his ankle broke. And I'm like, ooh, ow, God. That made me like, oh. And then like everyone else just like, people just be cut in half. And I'm like,
What does that say about the showrunners? That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh. But it's a cool scene. I love his performance, his desperation.
Yeah.
His last words are, I'm sorry, Lord.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I also question why. I feel like if I were in his situation, I would have assumed this was happening to him by the Santi.
Well, and so he said
he has no evidence. He doesn't know anything about this government group and that they have magic nanofibers.
Yeah, he said, forgive me, Lord. Is that what he said at the end?
Oh, maybe that's what he said.
Yeah. I know. I literally thought he thought this was them.
That would make more sense to me.
But it doesn't make any sense why he would try to protect the drive then.
Right. Again, more things on the screen without information to merit it being on the screen.
These guys.
I feel like we're such sticklers. Like, I think people who watch us are going to be like, my God, these guys. Just turn your brain off.
Just turn your brain off.
Watch a show, man.
Oh, man. We haven't even got to the worst part yet. I'm about to go crazy. In
this episode?
Yeah.
I'm
about to go crazy.
All right, let's get there then. They find the drive.
Still my favorite episode.
Great. It's great. They find the drive.
Yeah.
They take it to some encryption specialists.
Right, and they say it's quantum encoded.
They're like, sorry guys, this is quantum encoded. I like that's something they already knew about.
Right. So it's going to have what he said, a quick estimate, 4 point something trillion years or something. To brute force it. Which code encryption is insane. Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah. And then it opens.
Right, then it just randomly opens
itself because the Santi want it to.
Because the Santi wanted to. That's pretty neat. I really like that.
That is cool. Yeah. And they reveal that it has some odd amount of petabytes.
Right, so that was kind of cool visually to me.
Yeah.
And I think to a lot of people who are technologically inclined, when you see the list of text files, first of all, it's crazy that they have 23 gigs or 28 gigs of text.
Yeah.
That's a shit ton of text.
Already.
Right?
Before they unfold the quantum shit.
So that's crazy already. But then it's just cool to link that to the idea of phones.
Yeah.
I'd say that part of the script is really neat.
That was good.
Yeah, where they say he says that's less than my phone, right? And then the guy was like, maybe not your phone.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's actually bigger than my phone.
Right, yeah. Then he says 100 petabytes, which we don't use yet, which is cool.
No. Do you know what you call it on one of those quantum computers that's like filled with petabytes of info, and you got a folder on there? You know what you actually put in those folders?
What?
Pedophiles.
Interesting. Did you know that, Taylor?
I knew that. Petafolders. Petabytes.
Pedophiles.
Yeah, folders, pedophiles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we put in gigafiles in our gigabyte.
Yeah. Anyway.
Megafiles in our megabyte folders.
Okay. Wade now goes into the interrogation room and is a total dick.
Yeah, he does his Wadeness.
To Wenjie.
Yeah, I like this scene a lot, actually.
It's a good... Actually, I do too. He's like, you got to be careful about what you know.
Yeah.
Because I know some things too. I know I just warned you against that, but yeah.
Yeah. His quick banter here, or I don't know if you call it banter, his quick monologuing, I guess, soliloquy.
It sounded improvised, honestly.
It sounded
in the best kind of way.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot because it again proves his weirdness and and it moves the plot forward. Who would have thought?
That it does.
Yeah.
That it does.
You know what I need? We need more scenes of Will. That's what we need. Will just shows up and he's like, guys, I have cancer.
And now I'm rich.
Yeah.
He's the heart and soul of the show.
He is.
Will is.
This should have been called Will.
Where there's a Will, there's a Wenjie.
Hey, wow.
I'm just dad joking it today.
That's great.
Anyway.
Pedophiles.
Wade is a dick and gives her a voice recorder that has the audio of...
the damning audio.
The damning audio of Evan's last discussion with the Lord.
Which is pretty fucking cool.
It is.
Say.
Yeah. But what's interesting, it surprised me how devastated Wenjie is when she hears it.
Well, but
she looks terrified.
Yeah. Based on what you told me about the idea of what she's feeling versus what she was feeling before.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like, they're still coming.
Right.
And now they are not benevolent towards us.
It's like, turns out all the shit that I've been saying is fine is actually not fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Ooh, a real steak.
Right.
There was a steak here. That mattered. Hey. Nice job, guys. Way to go.
Basic Steaks.
Basic Steaks from Dan and Dave.
Hey.
New restaurant.
Dan
and Dave's Basic Steaks. Where the steaks are adequate.
The steaks are here.
They're here. They exist. You're just grateful that steaks exist.
Right. Yeah. God. That's incredible.
And our secret basic steak sauce. All right.
Someone bites it, they're like, this tastes like steak sauce.
Yeah, it does taste like a steak, doesn't it?
Wow.
Taste this, dear. That's a steak.
That's a steak.
That's a steak that is.
In it.
Has steak in it. So that is. All right. Okay. Okay, then Wade shows up at Jen's house and is like, get in my car. I'm your boss now.
I love that again. I love this whole part.
And she's like, "You're not my boss," and he's like, "Have it your way. You're the boss. Let's
Right.
go."
Right.
You know?
Yeah. He talks about, do you know anything about higher dimensions?
Yeah.
Which I didn't even realize in when I was first watching the show. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. But now that I've read the book, I do know that it's a nod to something. It's not supposed to be a nod. It's the plot point that they bring up later, but they don't explain it whatsoever, which is interesting.
I mean, it comes into a little play with the Sophons
Right.
speech in a bit.
Right.
But yeah. And I like her response. She's like, "No one understands higher dimensions."
Right. That was nice. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they go off, and Jin's now recruited onto the team. Pretty much, if you're in the friends group and you're still alive, you're going to end up in the team. That's what it's looking like.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe even if you're dead. Sorry, spoiler. Wade gets to play the game.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they do that? This is the scene after that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
because he brings Jin over.
Yeah, and they're like, "Look at our hard drive. We have
Yeah.
this file." And they're like, "We have no idea to open it." And they're like, "I bet it's the game. Let's put on the helmets." And they're like, "Well, what do we do then?" And she's like, "Nothing. You just put it on."
You just put it on,
So,
and if
mystery
they want us
solved.
to see, then they'll want
Yep.
us. Yeah, then they'll
Yep.
let us see. Which also shows. Oh, this is getting messy again.
Uh-oh.
So we talked about how the helmets were definitely not alien technology
Right.
before, but in here maybe is.
Yeah.
We're not sure how it is, but it is. And now it's directly connected to them somehow, because they put on the helmets. The whole place that controls this thing is dead, right?
Right.
They just ripped apart Judgment Day.
Yeah.
They don't run this program
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And so now apparently maybe on the hard drive, the CXL file, the petabyte file, the pedophile on it, apparently that's connected somehow to the headset.
Yeah. I guess.
How?
Or it's just a piece of metal. It's just a dumb piece of metal, and it's all the work of the Sophons.
Right. Well, that's what I thought it was at first.
Yeah.
But it's not.
I am. But then what's the point of the headset at all then? I'm just distracted and sad that the thing that stood out to me about this whole sequence was how freaking great they did at making that helmet look so perfectly reflective.
Which is just
rotoscoping.
It's a ton.
Oh, a ton of rotoscoping. No, it's like stand up and applaud rotoscoping.
No, 100%.
That's what I mean.
It's funny that they brute forced that problem. I just think that's weird.
Well, I just think it's sad that I'm thinking about that and not the story. And I'm just like, oh man, that would have been a lot of hard work.
100% me too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they put on the helmets. They go into the game. And of course, Wade's got to do the thing where he's like, oh, touch this sand.
I love that, actually. I love that he came in and he went, fuck.
And then they meet the Sophon.
They meet, the character named
The character named Sophon. Do not confuse with the Sophons. Right. And she does a whole bunch of exposition.
Yeah.
This is the J.J. Abrams scene. That's what this is.
This is the Matrix, yeah.
It is very much a Matrix sequence.
Yeah.
But I just mean J.J. Abrams always has like too much exposition to fit in any character. And so there's always like a flashback or a vision or some long thing where it's like once upon a time years ago, this is what happened on a planet far away. And this is the reason why we have antimatter.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So she describes how they built the Sophons, basically.
Yes. And the VFX were beautiful.
VFX were awesome.
Yeah.
And this is where I get a little weird about the story because the technology as it was shown in here, again, not visually, it was shown visually, but they're like using it as B-roll, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like they have technological B-roll while they talk about what's happening. Right?
Yeah. It's a PowerPoint presentation.
It honestly is at this point. And it's weird because, again, I'm going to say it in the book. In the book, they have this idea where they talk about higher dimensions that are hidden inside of other objects that we've never thought about before. And this comes from the guy, I think, who plays Clarence's character in the book, where he throws his cigarette or his cigarette into the trash or whatever, and says, he points at the butt of the cigarette and he says, "You know what that's made of?" And he says, he's talking to Wong. Wong's like, I don't know. And he opens it up and shows him the filter inside. And he's like, so it's actually a bunch of folded materials that are inside. And he talks about how that's a metaphor for the Sophons. Mm-hmm. The Sophons being made of higher dimensional.
Sounds like something that would have been really good in the show.
Yeah.
That's visual storytelling in a book where you don't have visuals.
Yeah. And it's explaining the science behind it. Yeah. They have the whole last 2 chapters. Like I said, it's technically the last 4 chapters, but the last 2 show how they built the Sophon. And it's insane because you see it from the planet perspective and how everything's in the sky and things like mold and morph and fucking go crazy. And this whole thing is just kind of glossed over in the show, and it really could have been there.
Yeah, it's really boiled down to, we made these things that let us do faster than light communication.
Yeah.
And enable us to fuck with you guys so that we can stop your science.
Yeah.
This is where they reveal that key point that I'm still insisting they have betrayed this idea 5 times in the episode, that the aliens' whole objective is to thwart the evolution of human technology so that we don't pass them by the time they get here.
Right.
And again, if that's the case, just stick with your rules.
Right.
You know, just stick with your rules. Augie's countdown should have come back. She should still be wanting to kill herself.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There's that.
Yeah.
And then there's this sequence where all the screens in the world say you are bugs.
Which I love.
I don't.
I love it because the way that they changed the story in the series here, I think is really cool. The way that they made the aliens now are using a metaphor against humans.
Uh-huh.
In the book, it's stupid. In the book, it's literally like, you're bugs to us because we know what the fuck bugs are.
Yeah.
But in here, like fucking, what's his name? Not Wade, fucking High Sparrow guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says...
Evans.
Yeah, he reads them a story and then talks about that whole life thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it talks about pests and then talks about bugs, and then they use that metaphor to describe us, which I think is fucking cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just think the impact of it showing up on all the screens was kind of not earned.
Not earned?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just think if something like that actually happened, we would all just be kind of looking around to see what they're trying to sell to us.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm saying if every screen had a message on it all at once,
yeah,
no one would be freaking out about aliens. You would be like, was this AT&T? This is AT&T, wasn't it?
No one freaked out though in the show.
But that's what the camera angles and the music and the responses, the way people were acting and their facial expressions was suggesting.
Sure.
That this was extremely ominous and scary.
Yeah. I would say
it didn't seem very scary to me.
Yeah, no.
That they're like, you are bugs.
I would,
like,
I would agree.
That's the first message from the aliens to the people. You are bugs.
I would agree that that again, we're not enveloping any type of perspective here because they suck at that apparently in this whole series. But I still like the message that's there. Yeah, the whole fucking this is probably unearned to go to each and every world spot and see in different languages and shit. We really didn't need that. Also, they really, really gloss over it. But I didn't realize this, but the Sophons, or at least one of them, unfolds itself into 2 dimensions.
Right, and it covers the sky.
And that's how they, quote unquote, like Saul said, deep faked the stars. And they don't say that in the series at all.
It's weird because it's hard to understand why that happens.
Right.
Other than that it's freaky.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to spoil next episode, but it kind of starts almost not caring that it happened. Like, I guess it just goes away at some point.
Right.
And people move on.
Right.
They know that there's aliens now and people are freaking out about that. But is the Sophon just going, ta-da, I'm here.
Right.
You know, I don't get it.
It's, because, this part is not in the book. It doesn't need to be here. It's one of their extra things, and we talked about this prior, where in the book they have this thing where they have the Sophon goes, or when they're creating the Sophon, they accidentally fuck up and it folds into weird dimensions, and then it starts forming what looks like eyes, And I think Dan and Dave looked at that and were like, "Oh,
that's cool.
That's cool.
We should put that in there."
Yeah,
because it'll be cool.
Because I don't know, that doesn't make any sense.
It didn't do a lot for me. No. It would have been cool if the next episode came along and everyone's still staring at that. Yeah. And this is the new reality you live in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Exactly. If there was a point. Yeah. To the eyeball being there. I mean, Anyway.
Okay. Well, that's the big dramatic ending of the episode.
It is. Yeah. It is a neat visual.
Yeah. And it's your favorite episode.
It's still my favorite.
Hey, congrats, man.
It's not. I didn't say it was good. Yeah. I said it's my favorite. If I had to pick my favorite episode out of all these, it'd be this one.
It does. It moves along. It moves along a little better than some of the others.
This one has much more plot in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other episode, like we said, like last episode.
Oh, that one was a drag.
There was so many skips.
Yeah.
That we don't need this. We don't need this. And then the prior 3 before that were a lot of exposition.
Yep.
So it's just exposition. And then we got to a bunch of character moments that was like Clarence, like we really didn't need.
Yeah.
And then now we have plot that's moving forward.
So in my first watch of this, when this episode concluded, I was kind of like, "Ooh, that was a pretty epic episode."
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the freaking finale is going to be like.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this was a set. Like, ooh, this is episode 5.
Yeah.
What the heck is 6, 7, 8
what's
going
6,
to be
7, 8?
like?
Yeah. Oof.
And I wish I hadn't thought that. I wish I hadn't.
Yeah. No, it doesn't get any better.
No. But keep watching Deep Dish for more. Bemoaning and disappointment.
Do we so we have this thing now that we decided yesterday.
Pizza rating.
So we're gonna do slice rating.
Yes, yeah. So here's I mean, you already know this, viewer, because we've retroactively made pizza ratings for the other episodes.
So. Right. It's new to us though.
It's new to us. It's the first time we're doing it. You've already seen 3.
You've already seen 3.
Yeah, but you know we're like Sophons. We can control everything.
That's right. We are. We're Sophons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the series, we're going to combine all the slices into one pizza.
That's right.
But for now, we're doing a slice at a time.
So this is our 5th slice of pizza.
Yeah.
So what is this slice?
For me?
What is it for you?
I would say...
If you could describe this episode as a pizza slice.
Okay. I think I can.
Okay.
I think I can.
All right.
This pizza slice is a very sort of boring, generic frozen pizza. Like maybe that you'd get from the dollar store.
Okay.
And then someone put like really, really tasty hot peppers on it. On top of it.
Dude.
That's my vibe.
You know? And when I'm like 13, I'd be like, this is hella good.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll still talk your ear off about the peppers.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's like these peppers are really good.
Yeah.
But it is definitely on a lackluster, boring, non-satisfying pizza.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I'm going to go a little different, but I think you're on the right track with the spice level and stuff. Every now and then when I get Little Caesars pizza, there's like the sauce is for some reason really good.
All right.
So this is one of those
$5 pizza.
Yeah. Back when it was $5.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That was an epic era. That was a time.
So it's just pizza. It's whatever. It's pizza, right?
Yeah.
It's not well made, but it's pizza.
Okay.
And then you take a bite of it, and you're like, "That's good sauce," but that's it. And then it diminishes as
meaning you're focusing on the sauce.
Right.
You're like telling everybody like this is a good sauce.
Right.
You're not telling people it's a good pizza.
Right. And so of the sauces on the shit pizzas, this is my favorite. Right. Yeah, but you know,
and based on what you've said, this is the best slice of pizza of the 5 you've had so far.
So far, it is.
That's
oof. Oh no.
All right. Well, you've been watching Deep Dish, where we deep dish on your favorite or most hated streaming series from Karman Line Studios, and we will be back soon with episode 6.
Oh, fantastic. All right.
See you then.